at a time. Somebody pray.
Like I came it over like this. I went, oh, wait.
Well, I scroll like this is always taking up your room.
This is great. Thank you. How are you?
So good.
I'm sorry I came in here. I am just running from one thing to another.
I believe this is the beginning of a meeting right now.
He is? Okay. I'll probably go ahead and get started without him, but, okay.
Well, do you want to go ahead and start before you get set up? Or?
Just here, just go.
Catch up.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to our regular board meeting. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, it looks like we have a new person sitting over to our side.
We sure do. Madam Chair, members of the board, I'd like to introduce Josie Dennis. Josie is a senior at Evanston High School, and she is the student body president. So with that came an invitation to be a part of the student representative board. She has agreed. I don't know if she knows what she's getting into quite yet, but we're sure glad she's here. Josie, if you know Josie, she's a talented drama person. She likes the theater. She's been in probably every one of the plays last year, I think. And she's right now leading the student council, had a great start of the school year. One other thing that she likes to do is travel, so we're very excited to have her with us today. And Josie, please feel welcome, comfortable. Chime in when you think you need to respond, and you have some information for us. So thank you for being here.
Welcome, Josie. Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is to approve our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Chairman, I move that we move the agenda as presented.
Second.
Approve it.
Okay, second by Jenny. Any further discussion or changes? Okay, none noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Down to our consent agenda. We have for our minutes and payment of the bills. Is there a motion?
Second that motion.
Okay, second by Dave.
Sorry.
Jenny.
Jenny, second by Dave.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll go on to our discussion items. First item for discussion is our presentation from the Wyoming Cowboy Challenge Academy.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I would like to introduce April Corwin from the Wyoming Challenge Academy. April, time is yours. Let me make sure that
Welcome.
If I stand here, can you hear me okay?
I think so.
I can get pretty loud.
We are viewed online, and that's the microphone up there, so
Oh,
hopefully
okay.
we can hear you as well.
Great. So I am April Corwin, and I am actually a graduate from Kemmer High School, and I swam on the swim team and came up here and swam a lot during high school. And when I graduated from high school, I said I would never come back to Kemmer, Wyoming. So guess where I live? I live in Kemmer, but I'm happy to be back because it's a great place to live, and I love Southwest Wyoming. So I'm excited for my position with the Wyoming Cowboy Challenge. I've been working for them since November. So my purpose of coming here today is just give you information about the program, kind of just let you know what is available for youth in Wyoming. So our academy, we take students from all over the state. We also take some from out of state. Just depends on if they have a challenge academy in their state. So the National Guard founded the academy, and some states have the National Guard Challenge program, but I'll explain more of that as we go. But I'll start the slideshow here with a short video, and it will kind of explain a little bit about the challenge program.
Before E-Challenge Academy, I was a drug addict. I was addicted to marijuana. And now that I've been here at E-Challenge Academy, this place has given me the motivation to not only change myself, but try to change others and help others out as well.
Before coming to Youth Challenge, I felt like I was useless. But now I feel like I can contribute to society and make a difference.
Dude, fall in.
When this young student walks across that stage, on graduation day, it's a huge transformation for them. They wouldn't even recognize the student that started day one anymore. So we see this wonderful, beautiful, happy, proud, bright young man or woman with a lot of self-confidence. And then we look out in the crowd and we see tears of joy. It's just a tremendous day.
Today's world is a different world. We need the talents and skills of every young person to be developed to their fullest potential to help the country.
As of June 2011, more than 100,000 students have graduated from the program nationwide, and 90% of them have received their high school diploma, GED, or have returned to high school. The program operates at an annual cost of only $16,000 per enrollee, saving taxpayers $109 million in juvenile and correctional costs and over $31 million in ongoing educational costs. Youth Challenge is succeeding in providing thousands of young people a second chance to be productive citizens. But there is still so much work to be done. Due to funding restrictions, 6 out of 10 applicants are turned away every year. No child seeking a second chance should ever be turned away.
The Youth Challenge program has given me a successful life to look forward to. Everything I could ever dream of, everything I could ever imagine or want is coming true, and it's thanks to the Youth Challenge program.
We can have solutions to the dropout problem. Everything is at stake and everything is possible. And this is one program that has proven that it can be an integral part of that solution.
If this program can help me, it can help anyone out there.
Help us help America's youth. Invest in the future. Dream, believe, achieve.
So as you know, the dropout rate for high schoolers is not huge in our area in Evanston, but there still are some that drop out. I also cover the Sweetwater County area, and they have 100 dropouts a year. So it's pretty high for them in that area. I cover 6 counties, and so Rock Springs area is the one with the highest amount of dropouts. But we have had cadets, we call them cadets because we're military style. We've had cadets come from Evanston and graduate from the program. They have been very successful since I have started working here. I haven't had a cadet from Evanston not graduate, so that's one good thing from this area. So our mission is to provide a safe, disciplined, professional environment for youth that are at risk. And they are for 16 to 18-year-olds. And we, as on the video, we teach them different skills. As you saw, there's like life coping skills, we do job skills, things like that. So our main purpose is to provide them, to help them become responsible and productive citizen. So our motto is courage to change. And I always throw in this slide because I really like Winston Churchill and all his motivational quotes. But as we know, change can be scary, and especially for young adults who are in the age range that we represent at the Challenge Academy. So success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And then it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. So I am still growing up, so it takes courage every day to do different things. So this program, of course, is statewide, like I mentioned before. I'll skip through fast because I know you guys have a lot to do tonight. It doesn't cost anything for them to attend. It doesn't cost the families anything. It's all funded by the state of Wyoming and the federal government. It's a 5.5-month program where they go to the academy and they stay there for 5.5 months. And then they have a 12-month period where we follow them after the academy. So that is where we have a mentor that follows them and makes sure they're going to school if that's what they chose to do, or if they're going to tech school, working, if they've joined the military, whatever they've decided to do after the academy, the mentor makes sure they keep track of them. So we try to keep the mentor in their hometown. So we take males and females who are 16 to 18 years old. It's a voluntary program. No one's forced to attend or court order. They don't have to stay if they don't like it. The first 2 weeks is the hardest part of the academy because they are learning how to have an actual schedule and have to conform with everyone else in the academy. And they get up at 5:30 in the morning, which is early for teenagers. And they do PT twice a day, which is physical fitness. And so they do that right early in the morning. And you would think they would complain about PT, but they complain they miss PT. Like sometimes in the afternoon, they don't get to do their second physical training because of schoolwork or whatever's going on, and they complain to me about it. I didn't get to do PT today, and so I was like, well, get your schoolwork done on time. So anyway, and then we have our core components, which I'll go over in another slide, but they were on the video. We offer 2 classes a year. We used to have 4 classes, but now they have cut it back to 2. So every 6 months we'll have a class. So our next class won't be until January, and then we'll have July. And they live on Camp Guernsey, which is the National Guard training base. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Guernsey, but it's pretty long haul from here. But it's a neat facility. It's neat that they get to be right there with the National Guard and see what's going on. They get to march around the camp, and it's a pretty structured environment. And we teach them about being responsible and taking responsibility for what they have done or their choices. So we also have a hands-off policy. So none of our cadets are touched by staff or other cadets unless it's a medical emergency and they have to be. And that includes no shouting, yelling at each other, at each cadet, or the staff doesn't yell at the cadets. So we really try to be respectful to all the cadets and all the staff that work at the academy. So they say it's 17.5 months because they live on camp for 5.5, and then we follow them for a year. And so these are our core components, which they already talked about. So I'll skip those because we already talked about them. But one thing that's important is we do service to the community. Each cadet has to do 35 hours of volunteer work in the community before they can graduate. So they spend a lot of time helping out in the Guernsey area. They help with Salvation Army. They help with the Kindness Ranch that rescues animals that have been medically tested on. So that's really nice and good for the cadets to get that experience. And then we also follow the cowboy ethics, which we all should know since we live in Wyoming. I really like the one about not all things are for sale. Can't buy everything, right? And this is just a little bit about our mentoring program. Our mentors also follow the cadets while they're at the academy. So they contact them. They try to do once a week or while they're at the academy, but sometimes it's more like twice a month. But we really try to get the mentors involved while they're there, and then so that they have a good relationship when they get out and can help them along the way on the way out. The mentors are picked by the cadet, so they can choose who they want. Sometimes they don't know who to pick or who they would like to have as a mentor, and so it's good to know people in the community that would be willing to be mentors. I've had assistant principals, church leaders, things like basketball coaches, those kind of people that have volunteered to be mentors, and it's all voluntary program. And they do get training from our academy on how to be a helpful mentor and how the whole process works. So what they get at our academy, academic-wise, is they have two options. They can do the high set, which is the GED equivalent route, which is where they're done with high school. They're tired of high school, they want out, or they're just not motivated enough to go to class and aren't attending, and whatever's going on. So they can do that. We also have the high school credit recovery, which is where they work online with the Edgenuity program, and they work on catching up on their credits if they're behind, and then they get to where they should be in their classes so that they can come back to high school and graduate with their class. So if they're a sophomore and they would come back as a junior, they would start right where they needed to be. So we have a cadet that graduated in June, I believe, and he is doing credit recovery. He was at the academy and he came back to start in the fall, so I hope he's doing okay. I haven't checked in on him yet, but school just started. So I hope he's doing good, and he did really well with all his classes online, and he got caught up and did what he needed to do so he could get back with his class this fall. So he did that, and that option's available for them. We are in the process of becoming an accredited special purpose school. So that means we're not actually an alternative high school, but we're special purpose. And what? Yes, like a charter school. So we have been doing that for a year. It could take up to 2 years, they say. So we hope by next class in January we'll be accredited, and so it won't be like a dropout for the school district. It will just be a transfer to our academy and a transfer back. So there won't be anything with dropouts, because we know that the school district takes a hit when there's a dropout. So when that comes about, when we get accredited, I'll let everyone know. I'll let the superintendent know and the high school counselors and principals. So we have 4 full-time instructors that are accredited teachers, have their certificates through the state of Wyoming. So they are accredited teachers. Our students also take the TABE test, which is kind of like a knowledge, see where their knowledge is at. They take it twice so that when they first start, we see where they're at, and then at the end of the program, we see if they've improved, if their knowledge and what they've learned has improved. Also, they take the ASVAB, which of course you all probably know it's the military test. And then if they're in class, most of the day, from like 8:30 to 2:30, and then 2:30 to 3:30 is study hall, homework, that kind of thing. So it's a no-cost program. We have 0 tolerance for drugs and alcohol, no tobacco use on campus. The staff even has to adhere to using tobacco only in designated areas where the cadets don't see them using it. So we also have the credit recovery, which I just talked about, and that's not always guaranteed, just depends on the school district, how far behind the cadet is. If they're like, 9 classes behind, there's no way they'll make it up, 9 credits, in 5.5 months it'll be really hard. The most we've had a cadet make up is 8 credits, which is pushing it. That's pretty amazing. So I already talked about mentors, and then I kind of talked about some of the things we do with volunteers. We also march and parade, do flag ceremonies. The cadets have field trips. They're involved in clubs, just like a regular high school. They have music, photography club, those kind of things. Then we also have a foundation that hands out awards and scholarships at the end of this program. And then these are just some pictures of field trips and parades they've been in. They go a lot to the Air National Guard base in China. They do a lot of field trips there. Just kind of get them interested in it. And then these are our start dates for our classes and graduation dates. And this is what they take away from the program. Why should someone go to the program? Because they get training, they get educated, they get mentored. Not only do they get academic training, we have a program right now for those who do the HiSET GED route where they work with the Wyoming Contractors Association and they can get their CDL certificate, their heavy equipment operator, we have carpentry, phlebotomy, so we're really trying to get those who are done and graduating with their HiSET to get a trade so they can work when they're done with the academy. So that's only those who do the GED route, HiSET route. And of course, it's a safe, professional learning environment where they can stay for 5.5 months. You never know with these young kids what kind of environments they come from. Some of them don't want to leave the academy and go back to their home environment. So for 5.5 months, at least they're being fed, have a place to live, and they're safe. So sometimes we get those from shelters and PFS where they don't have families. So some of it's pretty heartbreaking, but it's good that they come to the academy and they get these skills and they can become self-sufficient. We get them their education. They learn respect, discipline. They also have the post-residential mentoring, so they have their mentor that will help them along the way, especially when they graduate. And it's tailored instruction, so we make sure that when they're in academics and if they're doing HiSET, we tailor their classes to the HiSET to be able to pass that. And same way with their high school credits, so they can take classes online and get it taken care of so they can get back to high school. And as you know, it's all military based, so they stand at attention, they march in formation, yes sir, yes ma'am. They really learn about self-control and being able to keep their mouths quiet when someone else is talking. And when they're in formation, they have to be quiet, they have to control their own selves. So that's the end of my presentation. It's pretty quick. Check us out on Facebook. We have pictures and videos of what the cadets are doing every day. So we have one from Evanston there right now. So if you go on, you might see them and be like, oh, I know that one. And it's really fun to see what they're up to. So do you have any questions about the program?
During the 2-week, sorry, I should probably turn that on, but during your 2-week orientation period, what's the dropout rate or kick-out rate or whatever you call it at that point?
So we lose about 20% in the first 2 weeks.
20%?
Yeah, just
Okay.
because it's hard getting up, having that routine, having the exercise, and they decide they don't like it. Or some can't make it medically. They don't have, whatever's going on medically with them to be able to do the physical fitness every day. And only 16% of our cadets actually join the military, so of our graduating cadets, so they go on to other things, which is interesting. Any other questions? Thank you
No.
for your time.
Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, down to our next item for discussion is question on missing warrants.
Madam Chair, members of the board, there was a question raised last board meeting about missing warrants. And that always concerns us when there's things in our records that are missing. So we went back, Sherry spent some significant time researching this to see what the issue is, because this really affects two departments. It affects our business department sending information to my department and then uploading these to board docs. As we went through the missing pages, what we found is the very first July 2018, indeed there were missing pages. We have no idea why they didn't upload. They just didn't upload. So we went back, made sure the record is accurate. Those have been loaded. In researching this, we did contact board docs. My opinion, the glitch is in board docs. Because if you look at the other dates on here and the warrants that were missing, you can call them up and parts of them will be missing. If you refresh and go back and call them up again, they're there. So that is truly a board docs situation. So it just, we informed them, we asked them. Of course, no one else is having this issue, but to have that many missing or that come up that many times, there is something with board docs. We also noticed the September 2010 that there were no warrants at all uploaded. So we have uploaded those. The record is accurate. Just wanted to report back that we do take those things serious, and especially our records, and those involved are very committed, very proud of the work they do, and wanted to make sure we get it right. So, Jamie, thank you. Yeah.
So, thank you for follow-up. I appreciate
You
that.
bet.
Any further questions on that? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our legal services contract.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I did include 3 drafts of, depends if you call them RFPs or RFQs, in board docs for legal services. The first one is the one that we used in 2012, 2014, the one we used last time. It does request proposals. That's A. The B is actually suggestions that came from Trustee Bracken. I really liked a lot of her suggestions, so I made a C, which is a compilation of A and B. Really, the difference is in the idea of how the local or any attorney that want to bid are paid. And what C does is it leaves them up to them. They can bid as a retainer hourly rate, or they can bid as a flat rate. I thought it would be best that the board would want to see all individuals, not those who just want to do flat rate or those who want to do hourly. I don't think there's anything different other than that. I put some specifics from B into C because I think those specifics are what the intent of the board, basically that they attend board meetings, work sessions, executive sessions. And so those are 3 copies, 3 choices. Kind of the timeline I see with this, and again, it's up to the board. The timeline for this is, this isn't an action item. It's just so you can look at them. So the October board meeting, we would request permission to go out to bid, open it up roughly 2.5 weeks, and then at I think it closes October 26th, that Friday. The 30th, I believe, is a Tuesday, which is a 5th Tuesday. What we do is invite those who bid in, and the board could interview them. Then you'd make a recommendation for accepting an attorney that starts January 1st, 2019 at the November board meeting. That's where you'd approve it. The other option is for you, if you like one of these, you could approve it tonight to request to go out to bid. We could put the bids out, actually give more time, roughly 30 days, and you could step it up really a whole month. So October, we'd have to probably do a special meeting where you could come in and interview the candidates, and you could approve in October, or you can still approve in November. So the timeline is still, I think, very open, and it's a good timeline. So again, discretion of the board how you want to handle it.
Okay.
You would have to amend the agenda.
You would.
We would.
Yes.
We would. I don't see that we would necessarily need to have a decision before November, the November meeting. I'm not for sure if are you agree on that one? So I think we could leave it open for a little longer
Okay.
or the regular time frame. I personally like option C. I don't know how everybody else feels about that. This is when.
Yeah, I'm the one that suggested that we maybe go a flat rate route, just because, given our budget constraints, and certainly it's a method that I have used several times. And so the fact that we have this sort of hybrid, I have no issue with it all. It gives the bidding attorneys the option. I think it certainly gives the board something to look at, and the request is now sort of broader, which I like. So, yeah, I'm fine with C.
And Madam Chair, John did some research, and I appreciated him. He went through and called many of the school districts in Wyoming just to get a feel of what they do for their legal services. So I have that document for you, which would be good between now and October that you look at and help you make your decision as you move forward.
Okay. So.
If John will share that with us.
When does that come up? We have to decide on it.
See, and
This is
I.
for next year?
So this is for next year.
Starting
yeah.
January 1st.
January 1st,
So the hiring a attorney for next year.
yes.
Again, just some brief history. Originally, this was a 3-year contract. It was extended, and that's why it's back now. Last year, when we extended the contract a year, the board asked me to go out to bid this year, and so that's what we're doing.
I don't think, and I'm just one, but I don't think that there needs to be a rush to put this as an action item tonight. We could always just put it for next month.
No,
And then.
my only hesitation is I know lots of things start hitting us in October and November. Right now, everything looks great schedule, there's no issues, but you know how that changes. So in terms of your schedules, if that 30th of October works to come in and interview, we'd have to set it up as a special board meeting. So all of you are, of course, welcome. No, who's got a calendar? I'm hoping it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, which is perfect. Sorry, I can't get you out of Halloween, or is that Halloween?
Halloween's Wednesday.
Okay, see, I can't get you out of Halloween, but I can get you close. So that was my first choice is to, let's just do it and approve to go out to bid in October, collect them by the 26th of October, have interviews on the 30th, make a final decision on the November board meeting. I just didn't know if you guys wanted to go faster, so.
I think that sounds like
Okay.
a good plan. Unless anybody else has any different ideas? No? Okay, so we'll do it that way. Okay, next item is our report from our WSBA Regional Roundup.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Fackrell and I did journey over to Green River to participate in this. And I'm going to let Mr. Fackrell go first.
Were you the only one, Kate?
I was supposed to go, and I ended up having a county council meeting, and I couldn't, so.
A little different format than usual. They didn't go through every little proposal to the legislature on school funding and all that. And the only thing that I really took out of the whole deal was kind of a talk about the security economically for Wyoming. And, something we don't think of often enough is as gas prices and coal prices and all those things go up, we get nailed as a consumer, but it increases our revenue to the state. And so they were very optimistic about possibly no more cuts and, maybe searching around. They always talk about searching around the other buckets for funds. And I haven't seen it happen yet. And of course, with elections changing, things that are going on, I'm not sure anybody can stay on what the future is. And, but they're always optimistic about it. I did nail them on our issue. I don't know if we talked about that.
Yeah, we can. I was very proud of Kay. Kay actually asked why Wyoming School Boards has seemed to abandon us when it came to policy CKA. This is not just our issue, but as soon as it became our issue, there's like crickets out there. And so Kay challenged him, where are you? Is this a district decision? Is this a state decision? This is a state law, and you've left us alone. We would like your help and support. I know they've been in contact with Mr. Phillips, but still, the impact of the decision that's laying before us will impact every school district, potentially impact every school district in Wyoming, with how they approve policy, rules, and regs. And that impact could be significant because it no longer do you follow a typical first reading, second reading. It requires a great deal more if we're required to follow those rulemaking procedures. I'm pretty confident that the Attorney General, the Governor, the legal office? LSO, thank you. They do not want to be a part of our local policies here, but that's what's at stake right now. So again, Kay put it very well, and they responded. They kept us after for about a half hour and said they're with us. They're right behind us.
Well, I mean, and that was really the question. They are the ones that came up with that format that your
Draft
committee-
policy.
The draft policy that your committee followed.
Yeah.
Was from them. And although I think our policy is better than what they drafted.
Most definitely.
That was from them, and so the real question is, where are you now?
They kind of talked about they're with us on the next level.
Yeah. Like I said, right behind us.
Okay.
The only other thing I would add is the message going into the legislative session is that we need to be loud and bold, that there is money available for education, and that's not the place to cut right now. Right now, we're looking pretty good. We're up about 125, 150 students, which is unbelievable for us. That won't impact our funding until next year. So now we have to keep them a full year, which we're okay with that, but that's not been the trend. So we're real excited about that, but we need to make sure we hit our legislators hard that stop it. You want to be a top 10 institution in the nation, it requires funding. Fund us. Our staff have not received a significant increase in 5 years now. We've been able to honor the salary schedule, but not a significant increase. And what I'm talking about is cost of living. There's been no cost of living adjustment. And we got a great staff. And the other part of that is Utah has caught up. They are right there with us. 42 to 44 is the starting salary in most of the large districts in Utah. Administrative salaries in Utah now outpace Wyoming's administrative salaries. I hope those guys in the back did not hear that, but that's the case. So that's all I had from that report.
Okay. Well, thank you for going, Kay. I appreciate it. Okay, let's go down to our status report for our security features signage.
Mr. Dennis, why don't you come up and we can tag team on this. It's not just signage. He's going to give you an update on where we are with all of our security features. And I'm going to go get it on.
Be basic.
No, I need another.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. As we wait for Superintendent Thomas, I'll kind of give you a little bit of update as to where we are. I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to attend the Safe Defend training that we did on that Friday before everybody started, but I have had a lot of feedback from the teachers about how they appreciated that training. Not only with what they received as far as being able to use some of the tools that were in that Safe Defend box that Shay had shared with you, but just some of the information so that they felt like they had some more tools within their own mindset as to what they could do within the classroom and protecting those students that they see each and every day. And so that was a great thing, and thank you to you as a board for your support, both financially and just in the things that you did in helping us get to that point. They spent that week right before, I want to say Thanksgiving. Let's not get to that point yet. right before school started in getting a lot of the safes and activation modules up. Then last week, they brought in their technical experts. They put in about 90% of the tops on the cases and kind of lit up. And so if you'll see, I'm going to have Christine kind of move. There are now some very bright lights in all of the classrooms and hallways. That's an activation module. And simply when it comes to a crisis, an active shooter, Christine would simply take her finger, swipe it, and at that point it would send the text that was talked about, sound the siren, and everything is in progress. They still need to do some work as far as training us, finishing the safes. If all goes well, they will have completed everything with this project by the end of September. We will then do the fingerprinting of our staff and get them put in place, and we'll have that up and running. We also talked briefly at the last board meeting about what we've done with our A-phones and our Raptor system. The Raptor system is in. Our schools have been using it. And I think if we ask our principals, we've had a good response from that, haven't we, principals? They're nodding their head. So I think overall the public has been very appreciative of what we're doing, again, to protect their kids. And they want those kids home at the end of the day, and we're doing the things that we can so that we can bring those kids home safely each and every day. We have all of the buildings on the new access control system except EMS and Clark. EMS will be completed this week. Clark will be done next week. And so if all goes well, things continue to move forward by the end of September. All of the things that we've talked about for the last really 6 months should be completed and ready. We'll still continue to do our soft launch. I sent an email out to all the staff today. Please go ahead and put your fingers in it. Get that out of your system now. Touch them so that we can go active probably the first part of October with that. So do you as a board have any questions? Well, thank you. You guys are a huge benefit in helping this be a positive thing, and as you have the opportunity to converse with our community, it helps when you guys are able to talk about it, and I think parents do feel a little bit better. Superintendent Thomas did a tremendous job last week at Rotary in kind of sharing that, and they'll continue to try to get to other community meetings to be able to talk about what we're doing. And it isn't just everything pointed towards our new policy, but there's a lot of stuff going on with safety, so thank you.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, my one question is, how is the locking of the doors after school starts? Has that been an issue, or is that?
Especially at the high school.
At the high
One
school,
entry.
the one entry at the high school, has that been an issue or not at all?
I have to commend both our principals, both Mr. Lester and Mr. Kohler. They've done a tremendous job in training their staff, in helping our teachers understand it, and I would say overall, it has gone really, really well. We had a few little hiccups at first, but Merle, do you have anything else with that?
No, overall, it's going really well. And the only complaint I've had by anybody is seminary kids coming back. They're like, do I have to walk all the way? Yeah. Or we've given badges to the seminary teachers on bad weather days. They can walk over and badge them in. And so that is an option as well, but that's the only complaint I've had. Kids have been really great, staff have been great. One thing we were worried about is kids letting other kids in, and to date, we haven't found one that has done that yet. So that's awesome.
So Jaron, where are we with the controlled access? When do you think that'll go live?
So controlled access everything should hopefully be done by the end of September. So we'll be able to have all the lockdowns, everything set for that. Like I said, most of the buildings are there, but by the end of September, the A-phones will be completed in so that we will have to use the A-phone system. That second set of doors will then be permanently locked. And so, like I said, we're shooting for the goal of end of September, which is really only 2 weeks away.
And I just need to add, that's an unbelievable amount of work that our maintenance department, our custodians, our secretaries have done in really relatively a short period of time. It is truly amazing. From where we ended the school year to where we are now and where we'll be the 1st of October, my hat's off to all the staff that have been involved. It's been very impressive. So. The other thing that we talked about, signage, if you click on that signage, you can actually go to a website and see examples of these signs. The board tasked me with signage. You want some signs up that say certain things. I originally started with 15 and now we're down to 3. The one at the very bottom is this is what will go at every door. So authorized personnel only, students and visitors must use main entrance. We looked at a lot of different ones, but we think that's the best. Just so everyone knows they need to use the main entrance. We talked about having trespassers will be, I want to say persecuted, prosecuted, but we think that's the best. It sends the right message. The other two are really what the board, I think, was wanting in terms of policy CKA. So I'm going to read those. Attention, and these are regular signs that will go in the front of the school. There are examples of them. They'll be of a high quality. They're not going to be hand-painted by Jaron or myself. And if there are 2 entrances to the schools, there'll be 2 signs, one at each entrance. If there's only 1 entrance, there will be 1 sign. So attention, Uintah County School District Number 1 Board of Education has given certain individuals the authority to be armed at Uintah County School District Number 1 schools. This would be a specific location, though. So at Evanston High School or Davis Middle School, but I just put that in there. These individuals may use whatever force is necessary to protect our students and staff. The one below it is very similar. The difference is just please be aware, attention, please be aware that certain staff members at UCSD number 1 are legally armed and may use whatever force necessary to protect our students. So we cut them down. Now you guys need to decide which one you would like to put up. Well, the bottom one we are going to put up.
The last one, no matter what.
I like the second one the best because it's more concise, not a lot of wording. Even someone with not very good education might be able to read through that and figure out what's going on.
I agree with the second one.
Yep, I like the second one, but couldn't you just put, instead of almost like attention, put armed personnel, and then the explanation after that?
We can.
Some of the pictures have a picture of
A gun,
I
and
don't like that.
yeah, I don't think we want to
No.
do that.
No.
So.
I mean, I think you need something that's short and concise that
Well,
basically those 2 words get.
The way I see that one, and you guys can look in there, is it says attention
Right.
in big letters, and then it just is print that you can read.
Some of them are like big signs.
Yeah, some of them are hand painted. Yeah.
With their mascots on.
We have the
Yeah.
Red Devils on it.
Yeah.
That's a good
Well,
idea. I
and
like
we
that.
think we're going to do that too, depending on what we can get done.
But like the one, if you're looking at the list of pictures that you showed us, it's on the second row far left.
The billboard one?
Not billboard, it sort of looks about 3 by 3-ish.
3 feet by 3 feet.
And I was going to show you, but I couldn't find the one that we got this from, but you can see that they're all very close. You can see, is it the one, no, the one that's the top right that says attention is kind of what we perceive, that I looked at as attention with either the E or the, our, yeah, our, whatever, our logo.
Well, I think there's a general consensus that we like the second one.
Okay.
But I do like Jenny's idea, but,
2 words as opposed to attention. I just think armed personnel, because who's gonna take the time to read it if they're, I don't know, I just think if you have that in big letters and then this short and concise explanation underneath, I just think that would be better, but.
It's up to you guys.
I think that's a little too much.
Okay.
Me personally.
I would go just a big attention and then.
Okay. You guys want to see a draft before we
Yes.
print them?
please.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
I'll send them to you.
Example of a sign with logo. Red Devils
Yep.
logo. Okay.
I like the E, the pitchfork E.
The pitchfork E, and the other symbol is more of a district symbol as compared to the Evanston High School, so that's,
Right, and so you may wanna do Davis or
Okay,
Okay, thank
we'll
you.
move forward on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Since this is discussion, I was gonna save this for round table, but I do want to also echo kind of what everybody said about the response that we've gotten from parents and teachers with the new security things in place at the school. I was able to attend 4 of the back-to-school nights for work-related issues. And I will just commend all of the schools that I was in about how much information they were sharing with parents. Mr. Lester and his staff were actually giving demonstrations to parents. I had several parents and teachers come up to me and just say that they have been, grateful for all the information they've been given and the training that the teachers have been given, and just everybody loves the direction that we're going with the security in the buildings right now. So, thank you. Okay, let's move on to school reports.
Madam Chair, members of the board, one of our discussion in our retreat was that we were going to identify specific schools to report. So the winners tonight, we'll hear from
Everybody
Clark,
kinda has a blank look.
North, Davis Middle School Principal, and Evanston High School. And if we can, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, Josie, would you report how you thought back to school went? I know you have to go at 7, but just let us know how you felt back to school went. The rest of you, come on down. Go ahead.
Okay. So I feel like back to school went pretty well. Everybody felt like they felt safe and everybody was good, and all the information that they learned, they felt safe. So,
Tell them about the activities you planned for back to school activities.
so like for the
First day
back, so we have a assembly and we try to get the whole school involved so everybody feels like they belong, and we try to get like the freshmen especially to feel like that they don't need to be scared and that they will make friends at the high school and everybody will be okay.
It was fun. I went and watched. They didn't call me out and throw a pie at me or anything, so I'm happy to go. Thank you, Josie.
Thank you.
So Kimber and I were thinking that Mr. Lester was jumping the gun when he got up to come up and report about the hallway, and we said we were going to take him out. I was going to go high, or Kimber was going to go high, I was going to go low, but so he did good. Thanks, Merle. Chairman of the board, members of the board as well, thanks for this opportunity. I know there's a lot of things as we think, what are some of the things to share? And I just want to echo some of the things that have been shared here tonight. The training on the safety devices that we have in our building has been phenomenal. Teachers appreciated that. One of the things that we did in our building was to actually have the resources officers in there on one of those PD days and actually did some blank fires. And just the reaction of teachers. I know I was okay with it, planning it. As soon as that first shot went off, that adrenaline started going and started to panic a little bit. And then we practiced having them, what that would look like as they come into the room, as they're, looking around. We had some discussions around that, not as much as we should have, but it was a tough discussion, but I think it was a great thing as we prepare, unfortunately, for this kind of an event that may happen. And then with that being said, we are going to do an evacuation, actually practice an evacuation to the bus barn with all of our students, as well as have parents come and let's go through the reunification process. What does that really look like? One, for us as a staff, because it looks good on paper, and it looks good in my mind, as well as the safety committee. But what does it really look like in reality? So we are looking at doing that and asking parents to come and let's run through it. What does it look like when you walk in that door and we ask for your identification and we ask what students you have and what grade they're in? We send runners to get those kids, and then they come back and we do that checkout. They sign the paper, they step out of the building, now they're with their parents, so that they've been reunified. And I know that Clark did something similar. When I was out at the bus barn, we took the staff went out to the bus barn during that training as well and kind of did a walkthrough, but we don't know what it's like with students. And that was something that Sunny at the bus barn asked. Clark did it. They had a few parents. But let's see what it's like with having a few more students and a few more parents. How does it all work? So we're in the process of getting that planned. So hopefully that goes well. As well as we had our parent coalition meeting last week, and we went through all of the safety enhancements we have in our buildings. And I had the items from the safety fin box and actually had them out, and they got to look at it. They got to hold that. I don't think anybody was surprised at the weight of the baton as I was. I was surprised. But they looked at it, they saw it, as well as we're going to have a parent community meeting on Thursday, and we're going to share the same thing. We'll talk to them about the Raptor system. We'll do the standard response protocol, and we will talk about the safety fin. And, you know, what are the expectations as they enter a building with the driver's license. I keep saying credit card, but it's the driver's license. And with that, we've, you know, as people have come in and they were going to go down or take their child down, we just say, do you have your driver's license? Can you please scan it? And they've been very receptive to that. We had one did alert. It was interesting how similar they looked to the potential offender as it popped up. And it was interesting because I came around the corner, the secretary looks up at me and just points to it. And so we looked at it, and I mean, you look at those two, and it was like, wow, it's pretty close. But we were able to make the right decision because we know that person quite well. But the process there, and so we have great things in to keep our students and our staff and our parents safe. So again, thank you guys, and thanks Jaron and that staff. We had a parent meeting the other night, got done at 9:30, and went into the office, and the guy working on it says, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm done with the parent meeting, I'm going home. He says, well, it'll be close to 2 or 3 by the time I'm done tonight. I'm going over to Clark now to install all of theirs. And I asked Jaron, and he got a text about 2:45. Okay, we're done. So that was 3 in the morning. And so they didn't want to impact the learning of our students. Just really quick, we have had quite a big enrollment of students in our school this year. We have about 20 more kindergarten students, but we've had some people move in, so we're excited about that. And I just want to say congratulations to Colleen Moon, Stuart Perry, and Angie Lambert. Derek Query and David Day put together a summer challenge for the North staff. Some goofy things. One was to wear a pair of Dracula teeth while you're having your blood drawn. You got so many points. They had so many points for the national parks you visited, for national monuments, ride-in escalators in Wyoming. How many of you know how many escalators in Wyoming there are? Apparently there's 2, and they're both in Casper. One's in a bank, and the other one she won't tell us where it was at. But she said she rode both of them. But it was fun. It was fun to have that camaraderie and to see the people as they posted the different pictures on Facebook. So we are excited for that. Late start Monday. This last week, we had 4 students from the 8 o'clock to the 8:30 time. By the time 9:30 was there, we had between 45 and 50. So, you know, and we had the staff in place to help work with those. So I just want to say thank you to the staff at North Elementary for the work they do, the dedication, and for the love they have for kids. And thank you guys.
I'll get a horn.
A hook, a giant hook. Good evening. I am so honored to be here tonight and brag about Clark Elementary for less than 5 minutes. First of all, I just want to say it was an excellent beginning to the school year. My staff appreciated the opportunity to work with Jan Haig. That really kicked our PLC work off, and we just started the year running, and we haven't looked back. It's been a great positive start to the school year, and I appreciated the opportunity that they all got to have that training and support right off the bat. Also, a huge thank you to you as school board members, as well as the families of our our Clark students and our district office superintendents for the support of the Late Start Mondays. We have had, it is so incredible to be able to come together on a weekly basis to be learners as a staff. We've been able to work on our PLC process and really get smarter at things like our WIN time, which is our what I need time, to provide intervention and enrichment for students that are targeted so that kids get what they need during the school day. Also, we've had the opportunity to implement a new STEM program during the early birds on Monday Late Start. Kind of like Diane, they kind of trickled in, but we ended at 9:30 going outside with about 34 students. And they had the opportunity to go into different rotations in our school with different support staff leading those rotations. And I commend my support staff. I told them, I said, we're getting this new STEM program. It's going to be great, and it's going to be so user-friendly and easy for you to implement. And I just need you to stay and do this training. It'll only take 30 minutes. And about an hour and a half later, they were still there, and we were talking about it. But they were doing it out of the love and support of our Clark students, and I greatly appreciated that, because I know that that time is not wasted. It's not a babysitting time, but it's a time for enrichment for our students that get to come to school early on Monday and have the extended time. So, but I appreciate the time, the gift of time that we've been given this year, and I want you to know that we're using every single second of that time to support our students. And last but not least, I am like bursting with pride, and I'm so excited to now, and I hope I'm not stealing thunder from another middle school, but I can't wait to tell you that our Clark PTA worked hard with our staff, and we've been recognized as a National School of Excellence. And so I'm so excited, and I invited some of our PTA board members, and they don't want to talk, but I told them they had to stand so that we could recognize them. So just a little bit about the National School of Excellence Award. So I printed off the FAQ from the website and just highlighted a few things. But it's just a recognition program that supports and celebrates partnerships between PTAs and schools to enrich the educational experience and overall well-being for all students. And I think it's just a testament of the dedication that we have with all stakeholders at Clark Elementary, our parents, our staff members, and it's all in service of our students. And I'm just so proud of the work that they've done. So.
Thank you very much for sharing.
All right, Josie, can't leave yet.
Oh.
So Josie's on our student council, and I want to thank her because she helped with our freshman orientation up in the UNS, helped organize that and have a lot of the activities, and then the student council also, along with our staff, helped us develop the new cell phone policy that we have at the high school. Basically, the cell phone policy is when you come into class, you can either put it in a caddy, it's kind of like a cell phone slot, or you can leave it in your backpack, but then your backpack has to be away from your person. Okay, so kids have those two options, whichever one they want to do. And so, anyway, I think it's going to be a good option for us, and so I'm excited about that. But I just want to thank Josie because the kids really helped kind of steer that to a large extent. Just a couple of celebrations. Our cross-country team beat Laramie recently, and Laramie, I don't know. How long's it been, Bubba? Since we beat that, I don't even know, because they're like defending 5 or 6 time state champions. So we beat them this weekend. That was pretty cool. Volleyball held the Border War, first annual Border War. We had 14 teams and filled up Evanston. It was great for the community. It was great for us at the high school, and we're excited to hold it again next year. Football's 3-0, so we're excited about that. Proud of the Red Devils there. Freshman orientation went well. We didn't lose anybody in the UNS.
That's good.
I'll tell you, you guys laugh, but I worry about that. You get home, where's little Johnny? I don't, you know. So I do worry about that. And it's the kickoff to our mentorship program where we actually have senior mentors with freshmen. And that's been very successful for us. Our teachers this year are doing super well. There's a really good vibe at the high school, and I'm just so grateful to their hard work and dedication. The Late Start Mondays has been a very positive thing, and they are working. And for the first time, I just feel like we're really on track to get our curriculums where they need to be. And so that's super exciting to me. Our safety and security measures are having a large impact. Just the other day during our TGIF, I found little pockets of kids. And I go up to them and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10's great, how safe is the school? And I had one student say 8. Most of them said 9, and I had 4 or 5 say 10. And so I asked the student that was an 8 or a 9, I said, what would it take to get you to be a 10? And they said, and most of them said, I don't do 10s. You know, it's like 9's as good as you're gonna get. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I'm kind of that way myself. So, so really, I think a lot of the things we're doing are making a large impact on the kids, and so I'm super appreciative of your support and all of that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Steady, Superintendent Rigby. We'll be less than 8 minutes, I promise. So, yeah, Diane was 8. I timed it. Yeah, I timed it. And I remember my dad saying, they only asked the Browns to sing in church once. If you wanted me to not to be here, you just tell the superintendent and I'll step away. So I wanted to first of all turn the time over with the same enthusiasm from Clark's principal, Kimber Fessler, to our PTA president, Gina Sims. So, Gina.
Change out the mic first, Gina. There you go.
He didn't give me the option not to speak. I just want that clear. This wasn't my choice. So we began a PTA at Davis Middle School 3 years ago, and when we started, we had 3 goals. Number 1 was to figure out what on earth we were doing. And second was to contribute to the success of DMS by providing parents a place to be active and engaged in their children's education at the secondary level. So anybody who has a middle school student or above, you know that the moment they walk into those doors at the middle school, your coolness factor goes way down. So it's a hard time for parents too to figure out where do I fit in supporting my kids at school. But 30 years of research tells us how critical it is to remain involved. That research says when parents are involved in their children's education at home, they do better in school. And when parents are involved in school, children go farther in school, and the schools they go to are better. So this is key to our success as a district, as parents, and for students. So we wanted, that goal was to find a place at the middle school for our parents to feel that they had a voice and to contribute in the success of their children's education at Davis Middle School. So some of the things that we've done, well, sorry, I have notes, otherwise I just say random things, it's not good. So PTA at the middle school level looks a lot different than it does at the elementary level. So we had to figure that out. In my opinion, I think it's probably even a little bit more critical at that middle school level for our students. Some of the things that we have implemented are a zombie stomp. I personally have heard a lot of feedback that at the downtown trick-or-treating, they don't really like the middle schoolers to come. They're still kids and they want to do Halloween and they want to participate in that. So we set up something at our school for those kids to do. We have PTA Reflections, which is a national art program. Last year was our first year at Davis, being able to do that. We did a STEM night last year. And we also did, this is my favorite thing that we've done, is a Get the Scoop on DMS for incoming 6th graders. A place for those 6th graders to come before school gets over and they have the summer to know what they're getting themselves into and how exciting it is to be in middle school. And then we also did a Demon Challenge, which is our big fundraiser that not only raised a good deal of money, but also provided some relationship building between staff and students. So our third goal was to become a National School of Excellence from the PTA, which we have now accomplished. Yay! And Kimber kind of read what that means, and so I won't do that again. But in a district where we are on the path to excellence, we feel pretty proud to have that designation at DMS. In our support of our School of Excellence application, Mr. Brown wrote, "The PTA is critical to our success because it creates a forum for parents to have a stake in our success. I meet with the PTA monthly to plan events, review successes, build critical academic programs for students, and to build student and parent buy-in. When we as parents are given the forum for our voices to be heard, become part of the solution, and to shout praises, we begin to knock down barriers to success before they become insurmountable and maybe end up here before you. We feel that PTA is one of the best ways to provide that forum on a school level." And then lastly, I just want to thank the staff of DMS for being so supportive, allowing us to come in and be a part of their school. And the biggest thank you goes to Mr. Brown for his support and foresight to see the benefit of PTA at the middle school level. I hope that he and you can both see the extra magic that has happened after he brought a group of parents together 3 years ago to begin a discussion about forming a PTA at Davis Middle School. It is the staff, students, and parents working together that truly make Davis the place to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina and Mrs. Cox. I'll now, Madam Chair, members of the board, just let us hear from a teacher for just a minute about their professional development and preparing to come back to this school year. So, Mr. Francis.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm happy to be here, talk a little bit. Mr. Brown asked me to talk about professional development for the first week. So I'll run through it pretty quickly and just kind of some of my thoughts, reflections on it. The first 2 days that we were there, we were lucky enough to sit with Jan Haig and receive some world-class training, Marzano training on high reliability schools and guaranteed and viable curriculum, and it was impressive. But to me, what was even more impressive was to look out in the gym, and you had teachers from across the district, all the elementary teachers, all the middle school and high school teachers were there, using the same vocabulary, working on the same work at the same time. And what that tells me is that there is momentum, that we are moving towards a unified goal, and that students starting in kindergarten right now are going to build on that and use that throughout their entire schooling. And that's pretty amazing, right? If you think about that, they're going to understand the system from a young age all the way through, and it won't be disjointed as it may have been in the past. I don't know. I do know that as a teacher working in my little group, I feel more unified now than I ever have before. Mrs. Stocks over at EMS and I and Miss Higdon, the three of us working together, we are now so clear on our outcomes. We know what we're going to teach, we know what we're going to assess, and when we're going to assess it. All of us are in different spots, but we're moving in the right direction. And this is evident because on Thursday of that week, the third day of professional development, the middle school, and I can only speak for the middle schools, we got together, Davis and Evanston middle schools, and 3 of our own teachers led similar work on guaranteed and viable curriculum and high reliability schools. Dave Jensen, Barb Jeffress, and Brian Krupp all led us in what they're doing and taught us what they're doing. In a fishbowl type scenario, we were able to sit and watch them pick priority standards, create proficiency scales, and even create a common formative assessment. And I was impressed that we have people now that are becoming experts in this work in our district. So as we move forward, more and more people are going to become that, and we will be facilitators of learning across the state. And then finally, on the Friday, I have to actually extend my gratitude to the board for the training we received for the Safe Defend boxes. Maybe the most well-received training that I've heard in our district. All of us teachers that I've talked to that I can represent feel safer walking into the schools. We have plans for our students in case of a crisis, and that is impressive. That's something that I think we need to hang our hats on, that I now have a plan. The students in my class know what to do in case of a crisis, and I think that's something that we may not have had in the past, and now we are taking major strides towards. So thank you for your time. That's all I have. Want me to say anything?
No, perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'm at 12 minutes. I'm crossing out 2 things. Do you see me, Superintendent? But I do have to say, I had lunch today with 7 moms from DMS. And one thing I want to just repeat to this board, We have a brand new girl, Allie Steele. She comes to us from California and then Utah. Really nervous as an 8th grade girl coming to a middle school to make new friends. And I listened to that mom today talk about her daughter's love for her band teacher, Mr. Dancer. She loves Mr. Dancer. Recognize that he's already fulfilled a full career in Montana and retired there, collecting retirement, I'm sure, from there, and still hanging on. And we hope with that mustache that he hangs on for a long time. I've loved watching him. He really believes in this safe school work that we're doing. He was involved in a situation at a crisis at his school, and I will tell you, if he stands up, or he will tell you, as Brad did, he feels very good about the movement that our district is making to protect our students. He always has high expectations of students. And my favorite thing was watching his students after a parade last year address him. They talk to him as a friend and someone who they respect. So we are thrilled to have Mr. Dancer as a teacher in this school district. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And I get to put the icing on the cake. Madam Chair, members of the board, I received from Jillian Balo, Superintendent of Public Instruction. Congratulations. This letter is to inform you of the recommended accreditation status for your district. Based on a review of factors including staff certification, assurances, district systems, the following recommendation was made and approved by the State Board of Education on July 12th, 2018. Full accreditation. So, pretty impressive.
Okay,
So thank you.
great. Thank you. Okay. Lots of school reports, all great things to hear. So let's go ahead and move on to our public comments. Are there any public comments in the audience tonight? Okay, none noted. We'll go ahead and move on to our action items. First action item is our athletic physical therapy contract. That would be you.
I'm going to stand so I don't have to move the mic. Madam Chair, members of the board, I have to say my bad a couple times dealing with this. First of all, if you remember last year we extended this contract, and again we made a promise that we'd put it out to bid. These bids probably should have gone out in July. Would allowed us to have someone in place to start of the school year. I appreciate very much that Dr. Jaquetta was willing to continue on those services, not on contract. So again, that's my bad. Second part of this, I was so excited for the bids that we received, I forgot to include a contract. So you do have an example of the contract that was awarded last year. The only change will be to the dates, of course, and to the dollar figure. The dollar figure changes. And why I was so excited about these bids, and you can see in my memo to you, is that we did receive 3 quality bids from 3 local businesses and vendors in our community, which is always exciting. 2 of those bids were exceptional. I had to question, this can't be right. One bid was for $0 and one bid was for $1. So this is our community providing a service to our students free of charge. And the service is significant. You can see through there what this contract provides our kids, roughly 2 free visits to a physical therapist, and then a bunch of other stuff in there, but supports our athletic programs and our activities. It requires attendance at certain of our large events, and something that, like I said, is needed. This, unfortunately, and this may be my bad too, what would be best is we have a full-time physical therapist on staff. We just haven't been able to afford it. With declining enrollments and budgets tight, it's just not time to add that. So this contract is really the next best thing, provide services for our students. Madam Chair, members of the board, I did make a recommendation in there. I recommend that we stay with Wyoming Specialized Therapy, which is Dr. Jaquetta and his staff. It will cost us $1 for each of the 3 years. The reason for that recommendation is because for many of the last 12 years, Dr. Jaquetta provided that service free of charge. When we went to him and said, we need a contract, he agreed, and we went to contract probably, I put it in there, 5 or 6 years ago, so he's been under contract since then. And you can see that even though last year's bid was not to exceed $9,500, it came in much less than that. What it represents, I think, is a commitment by Dr. Jaquetas and his staff to our activities and athletics. Not that the other bidders were less. I just think we found someone that does a good job, and I think they need to be rewarded. It doesn't mean that they do benefit. I'm sure they benefit from the service they provide, but we benefit first. Our kids benefit greatly. So our recommendation is that you approve the bid of Wyoming Specialized Therapy, I think it is. I believe we do have an updated contract now, if you'd like to look at it. Again, my bad on the contract. I was so excited I forgot that one little thing since we're approving the contract. Any questions, comments?
I can't believe that we have to choose between $0 and $1.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if so, I'll provide the dollar and it'll just be free of charge. Either way, I'm good. Again, I have to, and we'll reach out to the hospital. Their bid was of $1. Again, I think it represents. There's zero. Yeah, thank you. It represents a very good faith effort on their part to provide a service to our students. And I'll let them know that how much we appreciate that. Like I said, I was kind of shocked, but again, it just shows how committed our community is to our kids.
Can you explain, I guess I was just confused about the difference between the contract, what the amount that was contracted last year and then what we spent, but then you said that the contract did not include the concussion screening, that was a significant component, so tell me
Yeah,
where that's.
what we've had in the past is there was an obligation by the therapist to do concussion screenings. That went away last year. We do it in-house ourselves.
Okay.
That's why we came back with the different contract, because we had to change the contract to remove those services because he doesn't provide them any longer. It did result in a savings. And again, to the point where he believes he can do it for $1. So this is a 3-year contract. It does have the opportunity to up it for additional years based on a vote by the board in 3 years. So,
Okay.
did it answer that question for you?
It did
Okay.
answer that question, thank you. And so, are you asking us to approve the bid or the contract tonight?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I'd like you to approve the bid and award a contract. And we have it if you'd like to see it. Again, the only things that are changed are the dates, the 3-year range, and then I'm sure the wording had to change because it won't exceed $1. But
So we need it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really my question. So you've got some, there's some language in 3.1 that, you know, ask them to provide the detailed accounting. I'm assuming we don't really need that
No.
anymore.
Okay.
So, and then the terms, obviously, we'll change the dates of the terms.
Change the dates of the terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
And
I mean, so if that's the only thing that's changing is what you've sort of highlighted in yellow,
yes.
okay.
And can we actually, like, say that out loud for being on the record, what the compensation part is, 3.1, what the change is to?
Sure. Let me pull it up real fast.
And it actually simplifies the contract, because the way the original contract was written, he was paid in 2 installments. Well, I think we can work that out. It doesn't need to be 2
We
installments.
can pay.
Is it on board docs? Because I know never bring.
No.
This is not on board docs.
No.
Okay,
So
I was just
thank you.
wondering if it,
20 minutes.
okay.
Again, that's where my bad comes in.
Sorry, the total amount of compensation for contractor for student athlete physical therapy sessions during the term of this contract is $1. I didn't put down when we would pay it. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Did we talk about basketball games? I know we talked about that at one time.
And they'll support them, but not always,
At
at one.
Okay.
What Mr. O'Neill will do, Director O'Neill, is, especially when we have a large tournament,
The regional, like
Yeah.
those regional, okay.
we'll make sure there's someone there. And the EI, we will talk to Wyoming Specialized Therapy about our new Border Wars, because we probably need someone there. That's huge. And even the week before, we had a freshman volleyball tournament, and that was pretty big. And then the week after, we had a middle school volleyball tournament. So
had
they've
some
been
injuries
quite busy,
already.
yes.
Did you have something, Bubba?
Yeah, just, for example, during the border wars, we had a young lady from Syracuse, Utah, that wound up getting her bell rung a little bit, and I was able to load her up in my vehicle and take her down to Dr. Giacetta. He took care of it. At that point, I go back, but he sat down with the parents, went through the concussion protocol, gave her some advice, and they were back in the gym in 15 minutes. He's been doing that for a long time. Even if he's not at the event, his door is always open to our kids, not only our kids, but any kids that are visiting our gym or our fields. So I think that you may not see him in the facility, but I know this, if we have a situation where we need him, we can get them to him and he will see them. And even, remember one time I called him at, well, it was during a middle school basketball tournament, he was in Ogden. He pulled over to the side of the road, spoke with the parents. Well, the parent was a highway patrolman, and he advised him to give her the drunk test, the DUI test, and those are the things he's.
For concussion.
Just wanted to let you know, just because he's not there doesn't mean he's not there for us.
Thank you.
Really quick, can I just add to that, I helped officiate a couple last tournament of middle school and then the JV tournament for the border wars. And that was the first thing when somebody got hurt. Do you have a physician or a sports person on staff? And we had to say no and got some ice. But yeah, I know that that was a concern by people as they came.
The interesting thing, that was the concern from Wyoming school districts. The Utah school districts don't have trainers. The Wyoming school districts at our large schools, even some of the smaller ones, do have full-time physical individuals. They assume that we do, because they do, yeah.
I thought in Utah that you had to have a certified trainer in your schools. They
I don't think so.
travel.
Yeah. I know Bubba was doing the taping of the Utah kids.
Well, it
yeah.
happens every year at EI. They come
Yeah.
in and ask for our therapists to help tape, because none of those coaches know
Know
that
how
stuff.
to.
There's no coaching certification requirements in Utah,
Yeah.
and there is in Wyoming. And so our coaches have a basic first aid training and athletic injury training.
Yeah, care and prevention of
Yeah,
athletic
and,
injury.
it has to show on their records, do anything.
Yeah.
But I understood that Utah had to have.
I'm not sure.
Not that I'm aware of.
The groups that we had in have an agreement similar to ours. For example, I was taping a lady from Park City, and they actually have a physical therapist that spends time in their school doing some of that stuff. So very similar to what we have going in Evanston.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, I would make a motion to accept the bid of Wyoming Specialized Physical Therapy and award the contract as amended and provided to the board.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Got too many papers in this binder to turn. Let's move on to our concurrent and dual enrollment agreement with WWCC and CWC.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the board, you probably haven't seen these before, but these are MOUs that we've approved for probably since 2002. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that we are contracting or we're developing these MOUs with these two-year schools. They're very good partners. These MOUs come from them. I wanted you to take a look, and hopefully there is nothing in there that, like I said, we haven't been approving. I've approved them for years and years and years, but I thought it'd be good that you see them. Like I said, they're good partners. This is where we can get our concurrent, our dual, and other certificates from Central Wyoming College. So the reason why we have both is because the courses that Western doesn't have, we pick up with Central. So we need MOUs for both. So we recommend that you approve these MOUs. And if you want to see them every year, just let me know. Like I said, I assume every 3 to 5 years you'll want to take a look at the agreements we're making, but these are non-binding, just memos of understanding, really.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So, is there a motion?
So moved.
What are you
Second that
moving?
We
Okay,
approve the MOUs for CWC and WWCC.
thank you. Okay, and second by Dave.
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, approval to bid for copier services.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm actually bringing to you two requests to go out to bid, one for copier services and then the others for property insurance. The copier services, we go out to bid in the past every 3 years, and it is the third year. What I've got is what I call a draft in progress. With your approval, I will convene the copy committee, which is a kind of an at-large committee that meets every 3 years. We discuss copier usage and things. These are the district copiers. We're not talking about the smaller copiers that some schools might have to augment. These are the large copiers that we have. As you see, I'd like to go out to bid and receive it around December. And then what would happen is in January, we would approve, or I'd have you approve, the bid, and then we would install in June. So it's plenty of time, but you kind of see the draft that's happening with that. We've got statistics and things that will also be put with that. Any questions?
And I know that this is a draft, and so I know, and everything is highlighted where you can change, but it does say in your letter for the copier for approval at the November 13th board meeting.
Yeah, those dates are starting
Okay.
to, they'll be changing and things, and so that's
January.
kind of why I kept those
Okay.
placeholders.
Great. Okay. Is there a motion for the copier services?
So moved.
Second
Move
that
to approve.
motion.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay.
Property insurance.
Yeah, ideally, we would have these staggered so that you wouldn't have them all hitting at the same time. But this last year, we had, because of the CK policy, that moved it so that they're kind of on top of each other. The solicitation for property insurance is quite a large document. Again, it is in progress. There's about twice as much information that they need, but I want to just, give you what I've got. The CAFR will also be installed in there. So we will go out for bid. Right now, it may be that there very well could be one provider, and that's kind of what we're dealing with right there. But it will also go out to bid for our local broker. So both of those coincide. The broker, we give them out to, there are at least 2 brokers in town, and I give them out at the same time within 30 seconds of each other. So no one gets an advantage over that. Interestingly, whoever goes in and can lock the other person out. So it's kind of a bizarre industry on that respect. So, any questions? Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, you're characterizing this as for property insurance, but in your letter, it talks about general liability and liability insurance as well. So that's my first question. Are we separating out our property from liability, or is this comprehensive?
It's comprehensive. It includes sexual molestation,
All of it?
commercial liability,
The
inland
workers' comp,
marine,
all of it?
workers' comp. Now, the workers' comp is a stopgap because we have
Right.
Wyoming workers' comp.
Right.
There's errors on emissions. Everything kind of goes into it.
Right.
So,
And that was one of my first questions. And then I guess my second question is, are we eligible, and I don't know the answer to this, but I know that there is an insurance pool for Wyoming local governments that we would, it seems, would be eligible for, and we don't necessarily have to go out to bid to get them on board. Have we looked into that?
Yes, well, in the past, every time, this is the second time or actually third time I've bid this out. And each time we send a copy to them, and so they are judged against that. We also send it to some other groups like Hub International, but I believe that they've said they've got a issue with the handgun policy. But we'll send them out. I send them out to as many as I can, and so it's the way it goes. But yes, we send it to the government pool that's there for state and local governments.
Okay. Does anybody have a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move that we approve the bid to go out to bid on the property insurance.
Second by Jenny. Any further discussion or questions, clarifications?
This is more than just property, it's all insurance.
All insurance,
Okay. All in favor?
yeah. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, down to our next item, which is approve the lease agreement for Hayden Peak Academy.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we've had some dialogue about this lease. This is a request by Hayden Peak Academy to lease just under 900 square feet in the Curlin building. I was pretty excited to stop by the Curlin building and see that roughly half of that facility is where we had the library, lunchroom of EMS, and it's actually open, not junked up, it's just available. That's not where this is. This is actually the next portion of that facility. This is 2 classrooms where the old art room was and the kiln. So there's 2 classrooms right in the central part of that. Right across from there are the 2 restrooms that are available. So they're leasing those 2 classrooms and the restrooms. Next third of the facility is maintenance. And that was what I was probably real excited about. They have organized it. It is storage for some of the materials that was left over from the construction of Evanston Middle School and to do their duty or jobs as maintenance workers. So the facility is in good shape. This lease is for $1,200 a month for 1 year. It's actually the same lease agreement that you approved last year for LUCDA. So the difference is the amount. We based the amount on the going rate of 900 square feet. So we feel we're competitive. We have allowed them to settle in.
Hey, Ryan,
Yeah.
is it 900 or 9,000 square feet?
I think it's only 900.
Gotta be more than that.
9,000.
I think it's 9,000. That's what we had before.
Okay.
You and Dan had 900.
Yeah. I'm a math teacher too, so it's just 1 0 or a decimal point.
Just want to make sure that everyone knows they're not leasing
Yeah.
small
Okay.
Okay.
That would be a 9 by 10 room, so
Thanks
it's
for-
9,000.
Thanks for clarification.
So they have been in there since August, roughly 15th. They do have students in there. If this is not okay, not approved, they'll just find another location. We do recommend that you approve it. We do have ideas that we'd like to use the $1,200 a month for as we move forward with that facility in the future. The big portion of it will be utilities, of course, but the rest would be preparation for something in the future.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the lease agreement for the Hayden Peak Academy?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to approve the lease agreement with Hayden Peak Academy as presented.
Kirby?
Second by Kirby. Okay, any further discussion or questions?
Just real quick, Jeff, under the contract that was uploaded for us, the notification address for the Hayden Peak Academy and the notification section isn't filled in.
We're still waiting to hear from them.
So I'm assuming you'll fill that in and,
As soon as I hear from them, I will.
okay.
I did hear from Mr. Mayor about 20 minutes before the meeting, so we didn't get a chance to get together to get that information, but we will.
It will be.
Okay. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. On to strategic plan, pathway to excellence, board and district goals.
Madam Chair, members of the board, really the only thing that you're approving tonight, shouldn't have put the strategic plan. What you're approving is the board goals. The rest of the strategic plan is still in flux. Didn't have a chance to meet with the administrators today to firm up our district goals. So you will see the entire document, not in draft form, in the future. But what we move forward, I told you that we'd bring these goals forward today. So the goals that you agreed to, school board that focuses on the strategic plan and to support standard and assessment work K-12 with the goal of providing a guaranteed and viable curriculum that is the high reliability schools level 3. Continue implementation of the district's communication plan. And probably what you'll need is an updated copy of that. I think I showed that to you 2 meetings ago. And we're still moving aggressively on that plan. Emphasis on school safety and security, which hopefully you can see that that is moving forward. And then the last one is all schools certified as high reliability schools level 1 by May 2019. Level 1 deals with safe and orderly environments. So everything we're doing with the school security dovetails into level 1. So I recommend that you approve those goals.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the board goals for the pathway to excellence?
So moved. Second.
Second by Jenny. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Down to our board roundtable. First thing to discuss is our NSBA conference dates. Looks like.
Philadelphia,
Okay.
March 29th through April 1st. So.
Okay, and
I
early
don't know if
reg-
that gets into spring break.
Yeah.
The first Monday of spring break. So this is more informational than anything else to talk about it. What we budget is between 2 to 3 that would like to attend. We did cut the board's budget significantly in other areas, but conference attendance is still pretty important for your training, so it's still there. So
Okay.
if you want to attend, just let us know and we'll get things scheduled. Those of you that have attended before know that already probably the location where the conference is sold out. You'll have to go to a secondary conference. So anywhere from 15 to 25,000 individuals participate. So
It's huge.
big.
Oof. Yes.
Okay. And for the WSBA resolutions.
Madam Chair, members of the board, our district has always submitted resolutions. The timing is bad for resolutions. We have to submit them before the October board meeting, which seems to be early for me. But part of that submitting resolutions is the idea that we need to make sure we have delegates. So that's 2 individuals that will attend the Wyoming School Boards Conference in November. The dates, I think, have been provided. And you represent us. And I did include 3 resolutions just for you to look at. One of them, again, is kind of my personal windmill, is the idea of attendance. Is we need to do some work with the habitually truant legislation or the habitually truant statute because there is no teeth in it. And we also need to do something to support our first grade students that are of the correct age. What I think is confusing is we never get a really chance to explain what those resolutions are for and why we'd like to see them to change the statute. The bottom line, there needs to be some teeth in habitually truant student statute. Right now, it's a $10 fine, potentially in jail. The steps up to that are so significant. Even though we do them, it's just, I don't know of any parent that has been held accountable for the habitually truant statute, but I know a bunch of them should have. So again, I'd like to change that, and part of the reason why you can't hold them accountable is the idea of an unexcused absence. If a parent excused any kind of absence in our district and in the state, it's an excused absence. So you have to get a parent who's willing to say, I didn't excuse that. They are truant. And typically, once it gets to that point, they're not they're not doing the tough love thing, I guess. So I think the statute change would be good. The reason for the first grade language is the age of starting school. Again, there is no teeth in holding a student and parent accountable for attendance of first grade if their 7th birthday falls on that year. The way it reads is they really don't have to attend school, kindergarten or first grade. So we'd like to change it to say anytime that a birthday occurs during their first grade year, they need to be held accountable for attending first grade. Again, it's an uphill battle. Both of those are. I can tell you that I can't imagine we're the only district that suffers with poor attendance in first grade with some of our students. And studies are very clear that if you have developed a poor attendance pattern in first grade, your chance of graduating high school are pretty low. So those are, again, I just put them in there so you can look at them, see what you think. The third one is a little different. You guys realize that right now we're in this battle of are we a local education agency? Did our policy CKA, was it an interpretive rule or was it a substantial rule? The reason why we're in that predicament is because of the way the law is written. So Kay and I discovered that Wyoming School Board believes 100% that it's a legislative issue. So before we have to spend all the money, and if we lose, take it to the Supreme Court, let's have the legislatures change it and put it into what I believe the intent was. Basically, that it is local school districts developing a policy that is an interpretation of 21-3-132. I don't know if I captured that in the in that resolution. It needs some work, but that's my intent with that resolution.
Yeah, and that was my question. I actually like this, and I like going that direction as well. I would probably reword it a little bit and maybe tweak it, and if that's all right, talk about how, and there is actually case law to support that local school districts are really more like cities and counties in their independent policy making, and the statute needs to reflect that.
So the predicament is, these are definitely drafty. The two before, are the two that I mentioned, we've sent every year, I think, for the last 3 years.
Yeah, we have. And we're not the only ones.
Yeah, I know. I think last year, neither of them made it, but the year before, one of them made it, the habitually truant. So the problem we have is how do we approve these? I assume that the resolutions have to be approved in a public meeting. We have to submit them before the next October board meeting. They are very drafty, so that's our predicament. Now, I don't know if I have a good answer for you. One of the things we've done in the past is, and I don't know how your schedules, is we actually can schedule a special meeting over lunch, and in an hour we can get it done, and you approve the resolutions, and we'll get them sent.
That was a little harder for me, but.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll invite the culinary arts kids to. Okay. Well, will you guys suggest some dates, and I'll see where that falls and see if we can get. We need at least 5.
I'm pretty open.
Okay.
So on Thursday, September 27th, I could do lunch. Other than that, it's gonna have to be evening.
Thursday, 27th, lunch?
Yeah, I can do that. Great. Yeah, lunch is always good for me usually.
Okay.
Well, I can't say always. Say
Wha-
27th?
Yep,
Would that be noon?
noon, or whatever works.
Noon here.
Yeah. So again, it's a special meeting, so Sherry will have to advertise it, and again, it's open to the public. If public tends to come, just let me know and we'll order them a sandwich too. So.
Hey, Ryan, can you answer some questions for me?
You bet.
What is the definition of habitually truant right now?
I believe it's 5 unexcused absences.
Is it 5 or 10?
It's 5 in a semester.
Yeah.
So is this even if a child is sick and those absences are excused?
Yeah. Yeah. So really what the intent of this
But
policy
right after
is,
that, it says even excused absences result in a student missing school, so you're suggesting that excused is also part of that?
what we want to change it from is a number or a date or times. We want to change it to when their attendance is affecting academic performance. So it could be, because what you have is you could have a parent that excuses every absence, up to 45. Yeah, we could. And the law right now protects them. There is nothing we can do. But if we can change it to, and we'd have to document and demonstrate that their attendance is affecting academic performance. And if they're not going to school, we can usually document that fairly easy. There are some kids that are amazing. They get further and further behind, but still they seem to be able to hang on without attending school. Just think how they could progress if they were there.
What is the compulsory attendance age right now?
Yeah, 6 to 16?
Yes.
7.
I thought it said
7.
Well,
Oh, 7 to 16?
7.
Is it 7?
16.
The compulsory attendance age is age 7.
yeah.
7 to 16.
7.
Yeah, so they can come in
Turn 7
for
on
kindergarten.
September 15th,
Yes.
then you don't have to attend first grade till the next.
Yeah, so again, the statute doesn't deal with kindergarten. You can provide kindergarten. We choose to provide it, so it'd be a year earlier. You have to make it by September 15th. But it's not mandatory. Parents do not have to send their kids to kindergarten. That's the problem with this statute is after a certain date, they don't have to send them to first grade either. And then if they do send them and they miss 40 days, there is no consequence because first grade after that, when they turn, isn't mandatory if they can show when they turned 7. I think if, and I didn't do a very good job explaining it, I think if maybe we need to do some talking points or even just when the delegates go, just something they can read to explain it, at least give us a shot to get it approved. There are probably many that don't understand unless they've tried to hold a first grader accountable that you can't.
Mr. Thomas, I've been in that session and tried to explain these things, and you briefed us on it. Then you get a lot of questions. And the one thing on tennis, of course, is there's no teeth anywhere in any.
Yeah.
But is it? Can you come into that meeting and explain why?
I don't know. I'll check and see. I definitely couldn't vote, but I don't know why I couldn't go in and explain it. Maybe you'd have to.
I've always tried.
Yeah, maybe you'd have to recognize me like the esteemed colleague from they do in legislative session. But I'll check on that.
You always get a few questions from
Yeah.
districts, and there's a lot of difference between districts on a reservation and districts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the biggest
county
one.
and districts.
Yeah.
And they all look at these things differently.
And I use the language of holding a first grader accountable. It's really holding the parents accountable to get their kids to school. And even an opportunity to explain that the pattern that you're creating in first grade will carry on through the next 12 years if they're here. And we can show you. The data is pretty clear on that. So the 27th at noon, a special session to approve the resolutions. We'll keep it under an hour.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my binder's falling apart.
If there's others that you'd like to see, let me know and we can draft them and we can talk about them then too. So these just came from me. They don't just have to come from me. If you have something that you'd like to see changed in the statute or the law, let me know and we can work up some language.
Okay. So if anybody has any ideas, get them to Ryan as soon as possible, please. Okay, so we'll go ahead and, does anybody else have anything for board roundtable?
I just wanted to report that, the late start Mondays, I have a child who hated the idea, thought it cut into her social time, was refusing to acknowledge that this might be a good thing for teachers, hated it until last Monday when she got to sleep in. Now she's a big believer and it's the greatest thing ever. So, I know the teachers are all on board and it's been really successful, but you converted my teenager too, so there you go.
And it's only the second one.
I know.
Does anybody else have anything to share? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on to our executive session. Is there a motion to enter into executive session for personnel and litigation?
Second.
First by Jenny, second by Josh. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We will return back into here for our action items, but there'll be quick voting and then we'll adjourn after that. Thank you.
That's insane.
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm kind of used to it. Right, it doesn't break it. All of them okay, I can get that down.
How are you doing, Sheila? Good, how are you, Sherry? Good, good. This is my cohort in training.
Yes.
I was gonna say, we have training. I'm gonna be gone in November for the meeting.
And I am already freaking out.
I'm giving her a few months to kind of sit by me and.
So that's.
Any idea where that? Well, my second year.
I'm like, that's not very funny.
No, it's not. Wow.
But she's been super to help me learn as I go.
Oh, that's good. And you kind of get gradual with it too.
It's not so overwhelming.
Sick doesn't make you see. Well, it's because I was telling her when I started this, I didn't get very, it was just like, I didn't give her, I was like thrown into it. She said, there you go. This is the setup, this is the stuff, and everything was handy. And she was a short hair person, so.
Oh, right.
Let's go on.
No, I understand. You see mine is sitting here too, and there's a couple notes in mine.
Even my little tab, I've had freeze up a couple of times and just rather than kind of feel that moment of.
Exactly. Yeah, anxiety, yeah.
I mean, you have to just always go back.
I'm working on it.
And that's what I was gonna say. The YouTube videos have saved me a couple times this year because sometimes I'll just make a note.
7:56, go back and listen to it. So bad.
Good, and yourself? I'm collecting for science project for my science teacher.
Well, that's what you had in
Wow, and there's light out there, and I won't bump my head.
Oh, really? It's like the 10th and the 10th, we're going to Disneyland. 16th
I'll turn this on. Okay. Is there a motion to enter back into our regular session?
Madam Chair, I move that we open, or reconvene an open session.
Okay,
Second that motion.
okay, second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So we're back and we're down into our action items. Our first action item is for some contract approvals for personnel. We have the first contract for our certified personnel.
Members of the board, I will recommend that you approve Kelly A. Harris or Marin for a speech language pathologist. You can see the amount of the contract and the sign on. I guess we call it bonus.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I move to approve the contract of Ms. Harris. Second.
any discussion? All in, by Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Down to our related services contracts.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I recommend that you approve the related service contracts as listed at the amounts listed.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to our approve the conceal carry.
I'll make a motion. To approve, employees to conceal carry as specified in executive session.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. Second by Tammy. Kim?
So it's a motion to approve employees to conceal, to carry under policy CKA as discussed in executive session.
Yes.
Is that,
It's a motion to approve employees under policy CKA as discussed in executive session.
we have a first and a second on motion, and is that a new motion, Jamie, then?
Well, that's the way I would articulate it, but.
Just to
Well, I made the
reiterate.
motion, so
Kim made
did
the
you get it,
motion.
Sherry? Okay. I made a motion to approve the concealed carry.
Tammy, second.
And second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. With nothing left on our agenda, we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting. Thank you.